Yes, hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about who is a sporting director. We're going to see what he does and also to see whether we can get some knowledge of how we can become sporting directors, or just to get a basic knowledge of what he does. So I'm Gaucho Brian, FIFA licensed agent. So we're going to dive into it and then we see what we can give you guys. So, anyways, let's go straight into it. So, who is a sporting director? We're going to be also giving an example for someone who is actually a good sporting director after we're giving you guys a little bit of things to see. So, the first thing I'm going to say here is a sporting director. So, the bullet point is what he does and his role in a football club and everything that you need to know so that if you are thinking of being a sporting director, you can start to think smart. Okay, so sporting director, a key role is a key role in a football club. Normally, it's a key person in a football club that he actually builds a football club. So a sporting director also is someone who bridges the gap between the boardroom and the coaching staff. So you have your coaching staff here, and you have the boardroom over there, and the sporting director is the person like the middleman trying to do a lot of stuff here. And also he manages recruitment, transfers, long plan strategy, and the club philosophy. So when you think of a sporting director, there are people when you have a transfer, the sporting director is at the forefront of it. The recruitment strategy, the sporting director also is at the forefront. Transfer, long-term strategy of the club. So you see, when it comes to the sports business of that football club, the sporting director is really, really in charge. So if you have a wrong sporting director, then you might have a lot of challenges in winning the league, or in fact, actually doing better, doing something good when it comes to the league. So it's quite important that you have a good sporting director that is going to help you build out the philosophy of your club, especially what you want or what kind of style you want to play. So that's quite very important. Also, and for most sporting directors these days, when they want to come into your team, they come with probably like they want to know already ahead of time what you're giving them. That they have to have they have to be in charge of your club. So anyway, let's move forward. So what are the main responsibilities when we talk of sporting director? As we said, couple they oversee scouting and talent identification. So they are always like this, the scouting department, all those kind of people give reports to them. For example, if a scout goes and scout the player and and they discover that there's a talent somewhere, they report all those things to people, and the final destination for who making the decision is the sporting director. And of course, he gets the information also from the coach, the manager, that okay, we want to bring this guy in. But the sporting director is a huge say in who comes into football club. So, a sporting director managing the club's transfer policy and negotiation deals. Yeah, the sporting director, when you're negotiating on player, the sporting director is right also there. So, ensuring consistency, playing philosophy across age group. So, let's take for example, if the academy is playing certain style and the first team is playing a different style, there is for the sporting director, is the sporting director who see charges that okay, we have to have we have to have same philosophy so that this academy teams can always make that jump to the first team. So the sporting director is a huge part of that. So he also working closely with head coach, manager, but focusing on long-term goals. So the sporting director comes and brings the plan of the team. Let's say if it's a 5-year project for a team to win a league, or it's a 5-year project for the team to finish top 4, anyhow, but the person who brings that plan is the sporting director. So it's quite very important that you see that the sporting director is the main person when it comes to even bringing the coach to the club. So the sporting director has all the saying. He takes the decision. So why is this role even important that most of the sporting passes through him? Why is this role even important? It's important because he maintains the club stability regardless of managerial changes. So he tries to keep everything steady. The sporting director also shapes the club identity and vision. So when you see a club plays certain kind of football, the vision comes from the sporting director, and then they go to look for a coach that they think that can play that kind of football. He also controls spending and ensures sustainability when it comes to growth of the football club. So all these are very useful things that the sporting director does, and it's quite important that the sporting director has a big say in the football philosophy of a club. So that's why it's always very important that we have a sport, or your club has a sporting director that is very useful and focuses on the DNA of your club to grow. So let's look for a good example of a successful sporting director. Someone that we know is Monchi. Monchi. So who is Monchi? His full name is Ramon Rodriguez Badejo, current role sporting director of Aston Villa. So he has worked with Unai Emery before, but they still work now at Aston Villa. So what is his background? So this guy formerly was a goalkeeper of Sevilla, retired and early, and also joined Sevilla backroom staff. Then he became now the sporting director in 2000, helping Sevilla become a European powerhouse. So when you used to hear Sevilla winning all those Europa leagues, like that, you used to know the person behind their recruitment. Also, Monchi was a huge part of that. So his career highlight actually, he discovered discovered and developed stars like. Do you remember Dani Alves when he used to play for Sevilla? Sergio Ramos, Ivan Rakitic, Jesus Navas, and those players that Sevilla used to always produce. You know, at one point in time, Sevilla used to always produce a lot of good players, and with the help of Monchi, they won multiple European League titles with Sevilla. He also had a brief stint at AS Roma before returning to Sevilla and eventually joining Aston Villa in 23 when he also wanted to work with Unai Emery again, because he has been working with Unai for such a long time that their relationship is quite good, that when Unai got the Aston Villa job, they spoke that he wants to work with him because he sees that most of the time their days at Sevilla that made because Unai Emery has won a lot of trophies, and he used to win a lot of Europa leagues from in his days at Sevilla. So that was with Monchi in charge. So how does he work? He has deep knowledge of global scouting networks. So he's one of those people that he thinks a lot about scouting and try to have a huge knowledge on it. He focused on buying undervalued talent and selling them for high profits. For example, the players I mentioned from Sevilla, like the Dani Alves, he bought Dani Alves very low price and he sold him high. So he buys players that are quite cheap and then make profit out of them. Then they invest that into their team. Then their team become a powerhouse. So normally also he prioritizes chemistry between players and club footballing philosophy. So anywhere he has worked, there's always like discipline and also a lot of chemistry between players. So there's nothing like players trying to dressing room unrest. They try to always he always try to make sure that there's a discipline among the discipline in the dressing room. So he's one of those sporting directors that he is always doing well wherever he goes. So now he's actually currently sporting director of Aston Villa, and he's also quite doing well. Well, if it's Aston Villa are playing quarterfinal of the Champions League. Of course, Unai has done a good job, and Unai brought him to Aston Villa, but they are doing a good job together, and their aim is always to improve. So that's the person. That's sporting director role that I wanted to give more of you guys have been asking me what can I do a video about sporting director role, because some of you guys also are thinking of, okay, maybe in future you might like to look into that. So to become a sporting director, another question that someone asked me to do, how do you become a sporting director? Well, there's never a route. Basically, there's never a direct route. I'm going to say, let's take for example, Monchi came through the background of football. You can come through different background. That people who have sports science background, and they start by being maybe an analyst. There's no one way for sports. So I cannot tell you an answer. There's never a one way. There are always different ways. So it depends how you come in and how you try to keep learning and educating yourself. It's almost like someone starting with as a fitness coach, but he ends up being a sporting director of another football club. Yeah, but because he educated himself also in that department. So it's all about learning and trying to keep growing when it comes to anything. So, anyways, I hope this helped you about sporting director. I'm glad to always help with other topics, but yeah, this was what I had for you guys today. So keep in mind, we're going to bring more content about this, who is a technical director or whosoever. But the main aim for this video was sporting director, trying to give you guys a background how a sporting director works and that he is the main person in charge of a football club. A sporting director is almost like the main person because he brings the coach. When a football club is running smoothly, the sporting director brings the coach into the football club, and he brings the coach with a certain philosophy that he believes the coach can place a certain philosophy that the fans, philosophy of football that the fans might like, not might like, that the fans will like. That's why it's very important you have a good sporting director who has an idea of what he's doing. So I hope this you guys had fun with this, and also do, if you have a question, leave a message and we can try to see how we go from there. Okay, for all of you, for all those guys also who have been commenting about the FIFA agent exam, so just keep reading. My advice to you guys will be just keep reading, because as I said, the exam is just once this year, and if you don't make it this year, then also you're going to only wait next year, so it's quite long. So if you have a chance to try to just focus and make it, do that, because it's going to help you guys. So anyways, that's it for today, and hope wish you guys the best and talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.